Hello, hello, and good morning. All right. So, I have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on my What the Prompt prompt cleanup tool. And today we're going to try to clean up the rest of the UI stuff and see if I can add in a little bit more of the functionality that's missing. Um, Basically, I am trying to get this launched by the end of the month. I'm pretty close, and I think I can actually get it done by the end of this weekend. But I just wanted to make sure that all of the styles, everything is consistent across the board, and that consistency is sort of key. And it's one thing that I've noticed that Lovable really struggles with. It really likes to just change styles and change things on the fly. Case in point, I've been fighting with it for the past 30 or so minutes just to remove this blue background from this button, and it just doesn't understand how to do that. But I have come up with a new color palette. I'm about to go change the way that the background works, and this way, um, I'm trying to just tie everything together. So I've also been doing um, a lot of back and forth on the best practices for Tailwind. I really, it feels weird putting all those utility class tags in everything. It just feels hard coded, but I'm just sort of going with it. So I'm also trying to have Lovable just clean up the CSS because I was sitting there trying to do it by hand yesterday, and I'm like, you know what, this is a perfect thing for AI. I mean, I've done CSS for decades now. I've even written CSS engines and parsers. I could care less right now about doing CSS. So let the AI handle that. I just rather tell it what it needs to do. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I've come up with these colors that are now part of the theme, and I'm going to tie the background colors to each of the sections. And just to sort of give an example, when you switch sections, it now replaces, well, it now does an animation to close and open back up the page, and it changes the background color. But right now I have no control over the background color. It's just going through a particular array. And this is this is what we're going to be doing today. But I think for a good portion of this, a lot of this styling stuff is already done, and there's a lot of consistency stuff that I need to do. But I'm spending a good amount of time on this because I think one of the things I've noticed from Lovable apps is that they all look the same. Um, it's clear you could tell when somebody is using this tool and they don't really know how to code, or they don't have a design background, versus somebody who does, like myself, and knows how to design and code. So I want to make sure that this, as my first quote unquote lovable project and vibe coding project, I want it to look as if it was bespoke and built by hand. So we're gonna add a lot of this stuff. I guess in gaming we call it juice, but like we're gonna add a lot of that stuff into this today, and really focus on just cleaning this up and making this look really, really good, because I actually like this color theme. I like this style, and I want to reuse this for other projects. So, and I also have some future plans for what the prompt. I want to use it with a block editor like Blockly and let you be able to build your own blocks. So I need to. I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this once I clean it all up, which is sort of how my brain works anyways, is that I like to build stuff like good foundational stuff that's reusable, and then go from there. So let's see. The last thing I was doing is I was just starting to describe to it what I wanted to do with the background. So the editor is green, um, history is blue, history blue, um, favorites are orange, and settings are, I believe, purple. Okay, let's have it work on that, and then I'm going to go through here, and I think let's do this. I'm going to open up GitHub again, and we'll start working through. Where's my? No, I don't need my start project. I need my repository. Here we go. What the prompt? And I was keeping track of issues. So there's a lot of like this is already complete. I need to fix that. Fix button animation. I think wait, what was, hold on, let me mark this as closed or completed. Let's look at this fix button animation. When clicking the top of the animation needs to be removed because it's creating a shifting effect. Oh yeah, I've already fixed this because I redid the entire navigation. Where the hell is close? Oh, here we go, close issue. Speaking of UX. I've already removed these, so let's close this issue. A big thing that I need to work on is the markdown parsing. Background color change trigger before cleaning. Yeah, I've fixed this issue. Restore prompt search. I have fixed this issue. If API key changes, right? Failed markdown, fix markdown. This is probably the biggest one I need to fix today. Add I button back to API key field. Haven't done that. Remembering state. API key changes restoring. All right. There's a lot of state issues, and that's another issue with Lovable. Oh, cool. It didn't. Well, it changed the background to the black that I want, but it hasn't changed. The animation is triggered from the navigation component past. All right. I see the background is now black by default, but when the section loads up, it's not triggering the color animation change. I know where this code is because I was working on this by hand yesterday. Let me go to code. Whoops, I don't know what that was. Code and what the prompt. And I'll open up this and we'll put this in here for right now, and I'll pull up the prompt too at some other point. Oh my god! There's like such a weird delay on my monitor that I don't know what's. I bought this like MSI ultra wide monitor for my racing rig, and it was a really cheap monitor, and it's really a piece of garbage. I actually have to send it back in because it's blooming around the edges, but it only registers at 50 hertz refresh rate, and it literally feels like I'm like moving the mouse through mud. So I have a new monitor coming tomorrow, I think, which hopefully will fix that problem. Plus, it'll be a bigger resolution. It'll give me like two 1440p. It'll basically be like two 1440p monitors together, so at least I can up this resolution because I'm dying here without being able to spread out. All right, so what I wanted to do was there in the app, there should be a call to use trigger canvas animation. And so what I wanted to do is here, let's do this. I want you to refactor this part of the app code to use the location to pass in to look up the section color, pass it to the background animation, and have the background animation trigger that color change. All right, so maybe if I'm a little bit more specific with Lovable, it'll sort of get what I'm looking at. But honestly, I'm actually really happy with this color palette. Like, even I'm looking at this black. This black is looking pretty good. The only thing I need to fix is this green, because the white on the green, it's the only one of these colors where white didn't really work very well. You could use the black, but I don't really like black, and I feel like this black is just, it makes everything feel dark. And the other big thing that I want to do, which I'm going to try to find on my other monitor here, Let me close that other project out. The other thing I want to do, and I'll just drag this guy down here because we're going to use it, is I found this, I found these buttons, and I really love this, and I wanted it to be a little bit more playful. So what I'm going to do is, once I get more of the UI in place, we're going to implement buttons like this, and we're going to use these buttons in the shadow so that the buttons will be like sort of raised up. All right, I've added a helper function to get selection color that maps each route path. Why is it not doing this? Let's clear the console. Let's reload the site and see what's breaking. Validate DOM cannot appear as a descendant. I don't even know what that error is. Canvas bound, canvas trigger registered on window. Complete call. So I think what I want to do is this. I'm going to, first off, let's just create this. Need to map section button color to BG animation. The background color animation needs to change based on the color of the section button. All right, I'll assign it to myself because it's only me here. This is a bug, and we're going to create this. And then what we're going to do here is git fetch all. So we'll pull down all the changes from Lovable, git pull all, and here we go. So now what I want to do is let's get out of this, let's just close out all these things here. And we're going to leave Lovable to the side because I can't deal with it today. It's already being a pain, and I have enough knowledge to fix this myself. At least I hope so. We'll see. And then I just need to now find the editor. There we go. Okay. So now that these things are tied together, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Shoot. I forgot to open this up so I could see what changes happened. Because I believe this thing used to have... Let me go back into... Well, you know what? Let's use Lovable for something that it's good at, which is I want to go back to its history and see where it broke everything. So here's Lovable. Let me see. Let me go back to, I want you to refactor the background color. So we're going to take a look at what changes it made here. Now I really don't understand what the hell it's doing here and why it's deciding that it needs to replace stuff that already exists, but sure, whatever. Clear timeout. I'm trying to see, get current page info. Did it break? Did it break that? No, okay, the animation's still fine. It's just this triggering effect. Set animation to true, is open, false, fine. Trigger canvas animation. All right, so it's funny because it's not passing the color, even though it told me, oh wait, here, on click, item color, use canvas. Color picker, next color. It's cool. I like how it like removed console logs that I was using. So what I want to figure out is there was a color picker here. And if I remember correctly, think, let's take a look at this color picker and see what's going on here. So in the use canvas background, there was create a color picker. Create color picker from utilities color picker. And I see that the color picker is not being used anymore. So if we go to this color picker, it had these colors in it. And it's using the animation. So we should be able to go back and figure out where this now is being called. So what I want to do is call back trigger animation, next color. Let's just add some console logs. What just happened? There we go. And I just got another window that's covering up stuff. All right, so now let's open up and let's clear this out and refresh and look for next color is undefined. All right, so let's go back up to here, because if I remember, when I looked at this real quick and it's in the diff, use canvas backgrounds. No, wait. Trigger canvas animation. So this sends out, all right. Get color path. Call animation with color. So call animation with this color, and it's not passing this all the way down. So we have this trigger canvas animation. It should be passing the color. Let's search for where else this is being used. Canvas background. Wrap the trigger. Blah, 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 blah. Trigger the background color change with the... This doesn't need to happen at all. That's some legacy code there. So next color, undefined, animate with color. This is a big issue. I don't know what this is from. It's something in the settings. I need to go and he's throwing errors. When I go to the settings, I see this error. All right, let me save this. This is a bug. Close, create, great. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go back through and try to figure out. So I've removed this code. We don't need this anymore. The window is triggering it. I wonder if breakpoints work. I don't have the React tools connected. I don't think this is connected like that. I'd have to set up all this debugging stuff. I don't even know how that would work in this weird setup of mine. But all right, let's see here. Use prompt form handler, trigger animation and mouse position. I don't think we need this either, but I could be completely wrong. Animation trigger called out. Okay, so let's do this. Let's remove this now and delete wrapper trigger. Trigger registered on window. So let's do this. This should say canvas background component mounted, canvas trigger registered on window. Fine. Set window trigger ready, console canvas, return, delete, set. I'm going to actually remove this real quick. And I want to see, there really isn't a reason why, like the background will be black by default, right? And then when we click on the transition, it will then do the color animation, and that transition needs to come in from the section. So where we really need to do is we need to make sure that when the section is loaded, so let's go back into our app here. That this page transition is called console log. What is complete call? Oh, console log page transition. Oops, okay. So now we'll stop this. We're going to restart it. And we should see the page transition canvas background initialized. Now, that is part of the problem. There's a race condition right here that I need to address. Let's go back into this. I want to take some notes while I'm doing this issue so I can figure this one out. Need to map section. Okay, so noticing a race condition where the page transition in app is firing before the color transition is ready. And I've noticed this problem before where it wasn't finished loading from the it wasn't finished loading from the CDN, so it wound up breaking. But I'll come back and fix it. That still doesn't mean that this shouldn't work, because now if we click this, page transition complete called. Whoa, that's weird. It's no longer calling this. Let's see if this transition is what is triggering it. Call completed. No. Use prompt. Page transition. All right, this is starting to get a little weird because I don't know exactly what is calling this. Let's bring this back in, which is, I think, what registered. Yeah, okay, that's what it was missing. It does need this because it registers this effect. So trigger canvas animation, set window trigger true, canvas animation trigger on window, window.trigger set is ready to false. Huh. Let's see here. animation trigger called at, here we go, initialized is true, and we want to pull in the color. Because I think this is the problem. This callback isn't using color. Oh, it doesn't like this idea, huh? All right, I think this is part of the problem. So let's do this. Let's pin. Can I pin this file? Here we go. Let's pin this. Oh my god, I have like such little room to work with right now. All right, so use canvas background. We're triggering this animation. We're calling next color. And when next color comes in, it's, oh, look at that, it's a string. Interesting. So, whoops. My theory is that it's not passing the color all the way down. And let's clear this and restart. So here we go. Now I've gotten it to pass the color through this trigger. And now what we need to do is we need to feed this into the trigger animation. And it should be here. Color. Let's go look at this trigger animation. Why is this trigger animation? Is color not being passed in? Oh, next color, that's why. Sorry, so we're either going to pass it in here or we're going to pass it in here. And now, there we go. Money. Look at that. It's almost as if I know what I'm doing now. So this is interesting. The button, it's funny, the button has like a little bit of a shadow. So, because I kind of like the idea where it blends in with the background when you click on it. Like that, but you can't see these things in the background. But we're going to make that look a little bit more 3D, and we'll use that 3D button effect. So, okay, look, we fixed our own thing, and we didn't have to rely on Lovable to do it. Look at that. It's amazing what, I don't know, 30 years of coding can do. So let's do git status, if I can, no, 30 years of coding, but 45 years of not being able to spell. Git add all git commit m fixed color transition. Push, and we'll push this back up to Lovable. And now what I want to do is I wanted to go find these floating shape helper, and I want to see what color it's using here. So it's using the stroke, but I'm not sure if I could change that dynamically. I guess I'm going to make all of them white, and we'll just leave it at that. And then they'll have like a little bit of a thing. So let's see here. I was just trying to figure out. I'm just thinking through if there's a way that I can pull that color out. I think I can. I think it's just hard coded. So at this point, let's just go to app, Oh, I wanted to close out that. This is now closed. What happens when you restart the site? Okay, good. Now oh, thank God that worked. It's like, please don't make me have to hunt this stuff down some more. Perfect. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this, this, or this. What I'm looking for was the app CSS. No. Maybe it put it into the TypeScript or the Tailwind config where I told it not to. Primary white. All right, it's just regular white. That's fine. Where did that thing go? It should be shape helper or something? Floating shapes helper. There we go. All right, we're just going to replace these colors with white. And now we have this nice little subtle, let's get rid of this so we can actually see it. It's this little subtle animation of these shapes in the background is white. This green is terrible. So the problem why you can't see it, like it shows up a lot better here. The blue is the best. But also I think I'm like predisposed to blue because it's my favorite color. And we have green, and purple should be pretty good too. It's funny, I might actually switch the editor to purple because I feel like it's a little easier on the eyes, but all right, we got this working. This is pretty good. And what I wanted to do is there's also something else in here with this thing that random between, fine. I wonder, floating shape context. Directions down, speed 1, fine. I was trying to figure out where it actually, floating shapes background, where it changes the transparency of particle size, rotation, speed, chaos factor. These are all the settings that tweak all the values in the back and I'll deal with that stuff later. Floating shape. Color white. Oh, we don't need this anymore. I tried to have like a debug menu, but it never even showed up. So, all right, so this is what's creating the particle. Rotation with opacity. Compute opacity. Scale. Let me see if there's a setting at the top that uses opacity. Base opacity. There we go. Scale opacity. So I want to make this a lot stronger. 6, 3. Make this 45. I think that looks pretty good. I'm using the green as a test because the green is the hardest color to see the white on for right now until I fix this green. It's so I will say the one thing is that it's a little distracting. Maybe there's some. What I wanted to do is I want to slow this down. Do I have... wind effect? Base opacity, scale, base speed. Let me do this at 0.5. The problem, what I don't like, is that it does this, like, it's following a sine, but it's so like obvious that it's just swinging back and forth. And I want this to feel more like snow. Let me see this. I want to try to isolate just what is causing. I'm also curious if this has any initial distribution. Trying to see if any of this has any bearing on this stuff. All right, at least this now. Ugh. None of this is working. None of this is having any effect on anything, is it? Well, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere where chaos, multi-sign, multi-wave, 0, 0, and 0. That one's a lot better. One, 3. Just trying to see what some of these effects do. All right, that's the wobble, and that I like, because now it doesn't look like it's not doing these like really big broad strokes, or like following that, like that sine curve. You know, the sine curve is like up and then down. 0.4. All right, so that looks a lot better. I'm already a lot happier with this. Let's add this to 1 and 5 and see what this does to the effect. It probably isn't going to have much of an effect. Okay, look at that. So now, changing this horizontal movement will change how much it moves back and forth. So this was at what, 5? Let's see what else we can do with this. All right, so where did I was just trying to lower my desk. All right, so I think the horizontal movement is fine. Let me see if I can move this between 4 and 1, if it has any noticeable impact. All right, we'll come back to this. Wobble strength. Let me make this 0 and see. All right, so that was the horizontal, right? Multi-wave, true. So I'd added in this multi-wave thing because I wanted it to 0.4, 0.9. I wanted it to like not follow an exact. Yeah, see this multi-sine wave is what's making it all now go off the screen. I don't want this at all. So let's make this false. Oh, look at that. That multi-wave actually had an impact. Huh. Interesting. Oh, cool. I can tell my Bluetooth headphones are about to lose connection. All right, so there's this wind thing here that'll move it back and forth, and I think honestly, I think the wind is what's making it look really weird. But at least now they look like they're just floating down. Yeah, I don't think I like the wind. Despawn padding. How far past the viewport before removal? Fine. Wobble speed, wobble strength, fine. And then, and this is the 1 and 1 again, so I can see the maximum of the sine wave. Yeah, see, like, it's hard to see, but this one here is like clearly following the sine wave, and I don't like that. But there are also ways that we can, like if I made this 100, it should be like a really exaggerated sine wave. Or maybe because I set the minimum in, if I set the minimum and the max to 1 again, so that it's always 100% applied. We'll take a look at it and see what it, no, it doesn't seem to do any effect. Cool. Let's set it to 0. All right, 0 definitely has an effect. 0 makes it just float down. 1, 1. That isn't going to change anything. We do 1. And that changes a few things. This is the fun part of animating stuff. Because what I want is, I want it to not be, so like distracting while you're doing stuff, but I want there to be always have like some sort of constant motion. Yeah, that white effect works good. So once I get this, all right, I like this. Here's one shape in here I got to get rid of because it looks like it looks like a swastika to me. I don't know why they made chat message AI endpoint connect. It's this weird AI endpoint connection one. Is this the endpoints one? That one looks fine. This is one, it's in the background somewhere around here. I don't need to draw attention to it. I'll just go and I'm just going to remove that one. And then I just saw it disappear. So, okay, that's what I want. I like all these things. I think what I want to do more of is that I want to actually incorporate these icons into the design more, but we'll deal with that later. I want to go back here to the floating shape thing. Chaos factor. Let's do 1, 1, and 1. I just want to see. Oh, look at that chaos go. It definitely is chaos. Let's do 0.1. Point 3. It'd be interesting. I'm trying to like. I do like the idea that they don't always follow the same just path down, and I think this goes back to here the wind effect. The wind was supposed to like blow them around. And I think that's the key to like a lot of this stuff is that it really it's just a little bit of it's more of an art than a science right now. Just trying to make sure that these animations are right. And also I'm also realizing you guys probably can't see any of this stuff, but I mean I guess it all depends if anyone's watching. Let me go to the opacity for a second here, and we'll make the opacity 1 so that it's easier to see. And then I'll just change that back. I think I'm happy with this. I think the only thing I want to do is just want to stop the maximum particles. I just want to reduce it a little bit so they're not all bunched up on each other. Yeah, that looks really good. They're still following that sign a little bit weirdly, but it'll be a lot more subtle. And actually, the rotation looks really good. The icons look good. All right, I think I'm happy with this. I can always come back and tweak this a little bit later, but now that there's less of them too, it's a lot. They look a lot better, and now it's super subtle. I'm just trying to see though. I think that it's weird. There's not more coming out from the top though. It's like when they fall down, they're not coming. Oh, there's definitely like a big gap between. Each one. I bet you it's the off screen. There's some sort of like let's see if we get as soon as it goes off screen if it will loop back around. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. There's something in here that's let's do 50. And I'm just going to change this to white, even though it's I don't think up will work. Whoa, it does. Oh my god, it actually did it. I like up way better. Oh, that's so much better. All right, yeah, that's so distracting. Go to 2. Trying to find this balance is I don't think this debug does anything. Effect enabled, false. I can't tell the difference, honestly, but all right, there's something that's going on where like more of them are not being spawned right away. And I need to figure that out. Yeah, like why are more of them not coming back? So I'm willing to bet that the up direction doesn't take into account that it needs to recycle them. We'll do down. Let's speed this up so we can I just want to get a feel for the amounts of them. All right, so that's working fine. We can now test this with up. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. It doesn't know the direction. So we're going to move in if it's I wonder if I set this to like -60 if it seems to affect it. Despawn padding. Let me see where this despawn padding happens. You know what? Let's throw this over to hold on a second. I've been testing out this new service that lets me use multiple different AIs, but it doesn't. Can you help me fix this background animation so when I set the direction to up, they respawn at the bottom of the screen, just like the down direction spawns from the top. And we'll use Claude. Actually, I want to try Minstrel. I've never used Minstrel. And I think that one's specifically for coding. Let's see. The other thing I was thinking of is that I should tell it to remove any of the effects that are at 0. I would like to simplify. Like, this is like a lot of logic to be running in the background for. Wow, this class is huge. All right, let's see what happens now. There we go. Interesting. So then I have one other idea. We'll see. I'm trying to think of what to do with this navigation button. All right. Let's see. Can you simplify this class and the animation calculations by removing the effects I have set to 0 are not used. Let's see if we can simplify this movement. This is where I get sort of nervous about it, but although I don't know, for some reason I've actually had some pretty decent luck with these AIs with animation. Sometimes it doesn't understand where things go. It definitely doesn't have like a feel for it, but a lot of the math that I always like struggle with, like is this inbounds, off bounds, blah blah blah. It's really good at calculating that stuff for me, so I don't have to worry about it. All right, let's do this. So this is 454, 300, and they've broken something. Well, that just gave a whole bunch of errors. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen. But let me see if I can get it to fix this. Do I have all the errors here? Now I need you to remove any old config variables no longer being referenced because I'm getting these errors. All right, let's see what this code does. See if we get down to. All right. We'll copy this. And I think it got a little better. Although what I'm noticing is that it got rid of the sign. So now things are just moving up. So, okay, we don't. I think the better way to do this, honestly, is to tell it like piece by piece to remove. So I think this multi-wave thing. Multi-wave faults. And let me reduce the speed again. Yeah, here's where it gets like really granular. I'm just trying to figure this out. And this is the problem with this sort of animation stuff, especially it's weird. Like even something as stupid as like a little background animation, like I have to put like a lot of thought into it because I want to make sure that it looks good, it's not distracting, and there's enough randomness to it that it doesn't become like a annoying pattern. And it's hard to explain, but even like right now, what I like now is that it's a lot more distributed. You get a lot more from the bottom, which is good, but the bottom is not where your eye is, and at the top, they sort of like fade away. So let's do this. I'm going to ask it now to I'm going to paste this back in. And let's do this. I'm going to tell it specifically what I wanted to get rid of. So let's start with the sine wave speed max and minimum. Can you remove the sine wave from the config and where the calculations are? And while that happens, I'm going to go back here and I want to change the speed. Where did I screw up the speed thing? There we go. So now it looks like it's a lot more heavily distributed down at the bottom. And a lot of them just sort of go off. Oh no, they're not going. I could do this for hours, which is part of my problem. I don't know why they're going off screen now. I bet you there's something that has to happen. I bet you there's something with the speed and the way that it's calculating the sine. So when it goes slower, it winds up like warping itself. So let's change the speed back to 2. And then let me fix, where's this multi-wave? Let's set this back to false. And let's get rid of this wind too. And we'll restart it. And let's take a look at just over time how this effect goes. So for those tuning in, I'm working on just cleaning up a lot of the design and the animations and stuff for the background of my What the Prompt app. Let me also go back and let me change the opacity again. And I'm kind of curious that when the opacity is like this, yeah, I like it better when it's. That's weird. I'm not like seeing a lot of them. Do. Okay. I'm not sure why they're going off the screen so quickly. Let me see if I change the horizontal movement. There we go. I think that was the key. 0.4. Oh, look at that weird wobble. All right, let me try this. I'm just still I don't know why it's going so far off screen like this. 0.5. Trying to see if any of these make it all the way to the bottom. I mean, I'm fine with them staying at the top, but yeah, some of them, like a few of them, just make it to the bottom. A lot of them are falling off midway through. No, okay, all right. I think we're there. I'm tired of messing around with this stuff. So let's do this. Wonder what it came up with. This is what we do. I'm going to just copy out this instead of replacing the values that I have and see what it came up with. New particle. Just this error. Bum, 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 bum. The error encountered is due to a enhanced floating shape type expected signer and signs which are no longer being used in the code. To fix it, you need to let's go here. Oh, no, I don't want all this. Shoot. Okay, let's paste this back in and see if that error goes away, which it doesn't. New particle. Wobble speed. Hold on, let's do this again. Here is the full code with my values. Can you update it to fix that error? I actually feel like Claude was giving me the best results. I don't think that I'm not that impressed with Minstrel right now. All right. I'm going to give this another couple more minutes and I'm going to move on with my life because this is not where I need to be focusing my efforts. And honestly, it's so close right now that like I just am concerned. It's like such a big class. It's just a lot of code that's running. All right, let's restart it. All right, I like the way that they're going now. So let's do this. The other thing I wanted to do is, can you add logic for them to avoid overlapping with each other? As I'm complaining about it's like adding a lot of logic, I'm also now just throwing in even more. So now that we prevent particles from overlapping with each other, we can introduce a collision detection mechanism. This mechanism will check if a new particle's position would cause an overlap. Accordingly. I wonder, my only concern with this collision avoidance stuff is that sometimes it'll like move in like a wacky way unless it's using like physics, and I don't really want to use physics. I mean, not like a real I don't need like a full physics engine in here, like Box 2D or something. All right, I think we're here now. Let's see. Ooh, it does not like. Still getting an error on new particle, and this. All right, I apologize to the other side. It appears the missing. Here's the updated code with the is2close function defined correctly. Oh my god, this class is so long. All right, I think the next step is going to be, yeah, I'd like to figure out how to remove this blue. All right, let's copy this, let's paste this in, and I just want to get a sense of why do I still keep getting, just tell me how to fix this. Yeah, I don't like Minstrel at all. This is just, Claude, I feel like it just gave me this code and remove the sign and sign speed from the enhanced floating shape type. Enhanced floating shape type. Oh, I see. So let's fix this interface. And here's how you can do it. And now new particle. How did that break everything? All right, I think that fixed the error now. Although they're still overlapping each other, so I don't think that overlap is working. Let's do this. Let me try a different. I'm going to, let's just mark this as not working. We'll move on. Can you help me implement a simple check to make sure particles don't overlap with each other? Here's the code. Let's give it Minstrel and see what it has to say. Oh no, I just did the same thing. Oh, and what just happened here? I literally, no, reprompt with Claude. I don't know why it went to Meta. Like, I didn't ask for that. So annoying. I don't think I'm going to keep this subscription for this. I like the idea that I can use all these different chat engines, but the problem is that I hit the walls really quick for those limitations. Basic approach for using distance checks. For many particles, you may want to use spatial partitioning, grid-based or quad tree to avoid checking against all particles. Here's a simple grid-based approach. Okay. Can you use the second approach and update this code and show me the full code? That's funny. It's actually using, I mean, this is all stuff that we do in games anyways. This grid-based particle stuff. It's actually not a bad, my other thought, like my sort of, my easier way of doing this, and what I may actually try to revert to is, I think, honestly, if we just know their general columns, and then we avoid those columns, it will help avoid that conflict. I think it's more about the spawning position than it is about the, I think that's what I want to do. Is this still trying to render this stuff? Is this still creating code? Jesus. Yeah, I'm making this like so much more complicated than it needs to be. Wow, 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 wow. Oh my God. It's building a whole physics engine. I just want to run this just to see, but oh my God, this is going on and on. Oh my God, it's still going. Oh, it added a debug. Claude is so much better. Holy shit. Let's see if this actually works, because I'll be really impressed. No, they're still overlapping. Didn't do anything. Let me restart and see if this helps. I mean, maybe they're avoiding each other less now. I don't know. I mean, for how many lines of code did we just add? Another 200 lines of code. I don't know if that actually was worth it. Let me see this debug though. I'm kind of curious. I want to see the grids. Oh, that's cool. Like, it's not doing what I want, but it's getting, that's actually just a really interesting effect, because it sort of shows you like what tile it's going for. If you made the entire background, actually let me make this easier to see. Where is opacity? So what's happening is basically it's going to calculate, and this is a pretty old technique to simplify collision detection. It doesn't seem to be respecting it, but I don't know if there's actually much you can do because they're all sitting on the sine wave anyways. But it basically takes, it estimates, it cuts the whole background up into a grid. And then it estimates which cell it's going to be in. And then it can use that to determine if another one is going to be in that cell. And this was used on like old tile engines. I mean, I've implemented this like dozens of times at this point. The bigger problem though is that there's no avoidance where the objects don't like really push against each other. So let's do. I like this a lot. I want to keep this. I'm gonna mark this as like that. I want to write a. I want to write an article about that. And let me do this real quick. I want to git commit. Git add git commit -m adding collision detection to particles. I'm just going to branch off of this real quick. Git branch collision example. All right, I'm going to push that branch. I'm going to come back to that later, and I think this is what I want to sort of talk about. Yeah, this is so cool. All right, but it's not what I want. What I want to do is let's make a new chat. Let's go back to this, and we're going to come up with a way simpler way of avoiding the collision. I want you to implement a system when spawning particles that tries to avoid spawning them too close to each other to help avoid collisions with no collision detection logic. Divide the screen up into columns and keep track of each spawn's last column and avoid columns near it for the next spawn, or if in the same spawn, in the same column, spawn farther, add to the particle's Y position to delay it moving up and colliding. Show me the full code. All right, I think this is going to be a better approach where basically we just divide up the background into columns. We keep track of which column a particle is spawned on, and then we avoid that column. Come on, finish rendering out this code. It's almost switch bind time. Actually, I'm going to go set this up on a different monitor here. Oh my god, trying to buy a Switch last night was such a cluster. GameStop. Do I even have a GameStop account? All right. Oh, look at that, I do have a GameStop account. Now, of course, it's asking me to reset my password, but I'm sure it's been leaked or hacked, or I don't know. I haven't bought anything on GameStop in a long time, so I don't imagine it's a very secure password. All right, so now it's better. I want to have it do. Can you implement object pooling to save memory sources instead of creating new ones each time? All right, let's have it work on why am I back in meta? Oh my, no wonder it didn't work. I swear, I'm hitting the llama and I'm hitting Claude and it just goes back to. All right, I'm gonna redo this and see if Claude can do it better, because there's still like a ton of overlap, and I was curious why. Am I like just missing something, or if I just hit Claude, does it decide that it doesn't want to use Claude? All right. If I do that, I'm going to reset my password for GameStop. And let's see here. Still generating out that code. Oh my god, GameStop's website's terrible. How do I even see where to change my address? I will be back in 1 second. I need to go find my credit card. All right. I am back, and let's see what Claude came up for us. Well, it doesn't work, so that's something, I guess. Right, maybe it's not that impressive after all. Apologies for the error. The issue is the get available column function we're trying to do. Let me fix it and provide a more robust. Here's the fixed version. All right. So I'm looking at this, and it already doesn't appear to be working. Oh my gosh, I spent like way too much time on this. Let me see. I just want to see if I can get. All right, we're gonna do one more. Can you draw the columns in debug mode and fix the bunching up that's occurring? They all appear to be, to be spawning from the same place. All right, while that happens, I think the next thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to go in and add this drop shadow. And I was going to do that on Lovable. So let's have that figure itself out. Then I need to go find Lovable. Where's my Lovable window? It's not that one. Huh. I've like lost that window with Lovable in it. Here we go. So what I wanted to see was if we can add show code. We'll take this. You know what we'll do? I want to start it with this. I'm going to tell it to it slows the collision detection. You update the nav buttons to have a 3D drop shadow effect like this. So what I'm going to do is I want to do a quick test, and I just want to see if Lovable can generate out something like this. And then if it can figure this out, then what we'll do is I'm going to apply it to all the buttons. And while it does that, let me switch back over to here and see if this came up with a fix. If not, I'm just going to go back to the earlier versions of of this stuff. Wow, Claude is just screwing up left and right today. Not a good day for vibe coding, that's for sure. Fix all these errors. I'll fix the errors by ensuring we have proper checks for undefined values and settings. The main issue is that the component is trying to access settings not enabled when settings might be undefined. Whatever that means. Whoa. It did it? That's cool. Whoa, that looks so good. Huh. That's really good. The one do is have them all share the same depth styles so I can tweak them globally via one style to get the depth right. All right, let's see how that works. That looks so good. Oh my God. I'm so happy with that. I don't know what the Spotify DJ I don't know what the Spotify DJ is deciding to do, but it's playing I Want My MTV. Must have confused me with someone who, even though I grew up in the 80s, I don't like 80s music. They're running really slow. And they're still overlapping too. Let me set the debug and see if this actually is doing something or if it just has decided it doesn't care anymore. Why is it so slow? All right. I mean, it's a lot better than it was before where it was just bunching up, but they're not. It doesn't look like it's. Oh, they are coming back up. So let's add particle size. Let's add particle count to 40 and increase this a little bit. Is it almost switch time? $5 says that this whole thing crashes. All right. Why is this not? They're not really. It's not really. It did something to the spawning because I'm not seeing them respawn as well. I guess maybe that's better. Let me set this down to 4. Let me set this to 10. And see if we can get them. All right. I think it's getting better. I can actually go back through and clean this up. This would be a pretty good set of blog posts anyways to talk about how you do this sort of collision detection, or like how you can fake different collision detections and stuff. Let me do one more thing. Can you now object pool the particles and reuse them instead of creating new ones every time. All right, let's have it do that. And then what I want to go back through here now is the moment of truth. Let's see if it was able to update the buttons. Nope. Huh. That's weird. Cleaning shouldn't have triggered that. What just happened here? No favorites yet. Fine. Go to the prompt editor. I don't see what it actually did here. 3D nav button. Okay. Can you now apply the 3D button effect to all the default buttons, like clear or like clean, save. What other buttons did I want to do? I think those are the only two buttons really that need that effect. All right. Well, it tries to figure that out. Let's go back here and see what it has done for us. All right. One thing I've noticed is that oh my god, go to the particle, get particle from pool, floating shape. You update the particle to fix the type errors I'm seeing. And what I need to do is go back here, and I want to undo this for a second just so I can go back up here and find my, I think this is where I was setting all this stuff. All right, so let's redo this. Come back up here. Up here, up here, up here. And right here. All right. So the pool is 50 and there's 40 active. That's good. I like this debugging stuff that it adds. This to me is like so helpful because I usually build all this stuff by scratch, but to just have it sort of clean these things up for me is pretty good. Now let's see if we can fix these type errors. Oh, this is not giving me. Wait, what is going on here? Why did it do this? Oh, it's still trying to it's still writing out the code. Key to fix the type issues, extend the floating shape interface. Where did it put all this? Where is it going to put all this code? Uh, 1040 debug. $10.40 true. Okay. I think this is good. How long has this class become? Oh my god, we just keep adding code to this thing. Now I want you to highlight the column a new being spawned in so I can see where they are going and remove the highlight on the next spawn. All right, let's have it work on that busy work. I'm going to come back over here to Lovable. Oops. Dude, what is going on with you today? It's like you do one thing right, and then after that, everything is just wrong. But it's weird, you haven't added outline secondary link nav full round full shadow large. So you didn't add this to the button I asked you to do. Oh my god, this drives me nuts. Wait, let me get out of this layer on my keyboard. All right, let's see what it generated here. It's almost time to pre-order a Switch, assuming that actually works. Oh my god, still generating out this code, huh? All right, I guess I'm going to wrap up this stream in a couple of minutes and move on to the next thing. But this is made some decent progress, at least today. Let's copy this over. I'm hoping this is the last. Six, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Interesting. It's weird. It says it's highlighting. Okay. I know what the changes are that I need to make. Okay. Make the icon spawn closer to off screen. And make sure that, and use modulus or something to wrap the column, the next column count. So you can add a random number 2 to 3, 2 to 4 columns away from the last spawn, and if it goes higher than total columns, it if it goes better than total columns, it wraps around and always spawns in a valid column. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to tell it that now it needs to, when it picks a column, the next column needs to be at least 3 to 5 columns away. And then that'll spread this out a lot more, and that'll get rid of that bunching. And yeah, all right, I think that's it for the day. So I'm going to keep working on this a little bit, and I'll stream tomorrow. Hopefully I have something more interesting to stream for tomorrow. But this is the tough part about these programs, or building anything, is that it's the last 10% that always takes the most. Have a good one, and good luck if you're trying to order a Switch today.